The automotive world has been divided ever since FXG announced the Venom wide-body kit for this Bugatti Chiron per Sport. Some people think it's one of the most exciting Chiron projects ever attempted. Others believe a car this special should never have been modified in the first place. But whether you love it or hate it, one thing is clear: everyone wants to see how it turns out. And after Matt Armstrong's latest update, we're finally getting a much clearer picture of what this car is going to become. If you've been following this Chiron rebuild and don't want to miss the next update, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because this project is getting closer to the finish line, and things are starting to get really interesting. Last time, Matt and his team managed to clear the final warning light that had been standing in the way of the rebuild. That might not sound like a big moment to people who haven't been following along, but for those who have, it was huge. For months, this Chiron threw up one challenge after another. Every time it looked like the team was making real progress, another issue appeared. Parts were hard to find, repairs took longer than expected, and there were plenty of moments when people openly questioned whether the car would ever be finished. But somehow, the project kept moving forward, one small win stacked on top of the last. After months of repairs, part sourcing, and solving problems that at times seemed impossible, the Chiron finally had a clean dashboard. No warning lights, no fault messages, nothing left to remind anyone that this was once a heavily damaged hypercar. That alone felt like a huge win. But with that problem out of the way, attention immediately shifted to the part of the build everyone's actually been talking about, the Venom wide-body kit. Up until now, most people had only seen renders and preview images online. And let's be honest, renders can be misleading. A design can look incredible on a screen and completely different in real life, once you factor in panel gaps, real light, and the actual proportions of the car sitting in front of you. So there was always one big question hanging over this project. What would the kit actually look like once it was fitted to a real Chiron per Sport? Well, the kit has finally arrived, and the first impressions made one thing very clear. This is not a subtle modification. It's not the kind of upgrade only a die-hard enthusiast would notice from across a parking lot. The moment the first panels were held up against the car, it was obvious this Chiron was heading in a very different direction from anything Bugatti originally designed. Unboxing a kit like this is its own kind of milestone. Every panel had to be checked for fit, finish, and quality before anyone even thought about test fitting it to the car. With a project this expensive and this public, there was no room for guesswork. One badly molded panel or one poorly matched line could set the whole build back weeks, so the team went through everything piece by piece before committing to anything permanent. The rear arch extensions were among the first pieces test-fitted, and they instantly changed the look of the car. Suddenly, the Chiron looked wider, lower, and far more aggressive than before. Even without paint, and with most of the kit still not fully installed, you could already see the transformation taking shape, panel by panel. But getting there wasn't as simple as bolting on a few new panels. To make everything fit properly, sections of the original bodywork had to be cut and modified. And that's where some of the controversy comes from. Plenty of people were excited to finally see the wide-body kit going on, but others were uneasy about what it would actually take to make it fit. Once that cutting started, there was no turning back. This was no longer a restoration project. It was becoming something entirely its own, something that would stand apart from every other Chiron on the road, for better or worse depending on who you ask. As more of the kit went on, the transformation became easier and easier to see. The shape was changing, the stance was changing, and the overall proportions of the car were changing too. With every new piece fitted, the Chiron moved further from its original factory appearance and closer to the vision Alex and Matt had been chasing all along. Some people are going to love it. Others are probably going to hate it. But either way, it's impossible to ignore, and that alone says something about how far this build has come. One of the more interesting things about watching this stage of the build has been seeing how quickly opinions are shifting. Some viewers who were dead against the wide-body kit at first are starting to come around now that they can actually see it mounted on the car instead of just imagining it. Others still aren't convinced, and honestly, that's part of what makes this project so compelling to follow. It's rare to see a build spark this much debate before it's even finished, and rarer still to see people change their minds in real time as the panels go on. Attention then turned to another key piece of the puzzle, the headlights. If you followed this build, you already know how difficult it was to track down a genuine set. At one point, sourcing them looked like it might become yet another major obstacle standing between this car and the finish line. In the end, members of Matt's team traveled across Europe on his behalf to secure a pair, while keeping the source completely private. That alone tells you how hard certain Chiron parts can be to find, even with the right connections and a serious budget behind you. Genuine Chiron headlights aren't something you can just order and wait for. They're the kind of part that surfaces once in a while, through the right contact at the right moment, and if you miss that window, there's no telling how long you'll be waiting for the next one. Once the headlights arrived and were installed, it looked like everything was finally falling into place. The team wired them in, everything appeared to connect correctly, and it seemed like another item was about to get crossed off the list, until the daytime running lights refused to work. For a moment, it felt like another setback had shown up at exactly the wrong time. After everything the team had already been through, the last thing anyone wanted was a new electrical gremlin. And because this is a Bugatti Chiron, even a small problem can sometimes spiral into a very complicated, very expensive fix. Thankfully, that wasn't the case here. After some troubleshooting, the issue turned out to be far less serious than feared. A few modules simply needed to be reconnected following earlier work on the car. Once those connections were restored, the lights came on exactly as they should. A simple fix, but a massive relief for everyone involved. That moment made a real difference. For the first time, the front end looked complete. The headlights were working, the signature lighting was back, the wide-body panels were taking shape, and the car finally started to resemble the vision people had been hearing about for months. You could feel the project entering a completely different phase. Instead of solving major problems, the team was now watching the finished product start to emerge in front of them. That's a very different feeling, especially given how far this car has come. Not that long ago, people were debating whether this Chiron would ever return to the road at all. Now the conversation has shifted entirely. Instead of asking whether it can be repaired, people are debating whether the finished result will actually look better than the original ever did. That's how far this project has come, and it's a shift almost nobody following from the start would have predicted a year ago. There's still work left before everything is finished. A few details still need attention, some components still need to be finalized, and the car still has to go through its remaining stages before it's fully complete. But compared to where this build started, the finish line has never looked closer. Every update feels like another step toward the moment everyone's been waiting for, the final reveal. And judging by the reactions we've already seen online, that reveal is going to spark even more debate, whether the finished car wins people over or divides opinion even further than it already has. One thing's for certain, everyone will be watching when the covers finally come off and this build is shown in its finished form for the very first time. So now I want to hear from you. Has the Venom wide-body kit changed your opinion of this project? Are you starting to like the direction the build is taking? Or do you still prefer the original Bugatti design? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying following this journey, don't forget to subscribe, because the biggest moment of this build is still ahead.